Kristina Bloom is under the weather today, but being that it is the week of Halloween, we wanted to get this out. So we have a couple of experts coming talking about Samhain and the traditions, and not just the traditions here, but around the world. So it should be a really good show. I'm going to host it. I'm not the expert, but we're going to get through it, and it's going to be interesting. For any of you that don't know, once again, ParaMystic podcast, normally with Kristina Bloom. And we have today, we have Raven Wolf. I'm going to go ahead and pull her up. And Beryl Wimet. And if I said that wrong, please forgive me.
Did great.
Close enough? All right, good. So this is a pre-record also, but I am going to try to monitor when it goes live and answer questions for everybody. And, put out your wishes for Kristina because she's just a little under the weather, of course. And let's get started, ladies. First of all, why don't you tell me how you wanted to start, like how you got into it, or how you, did you grow up into it? How about that? Go ahead, Beryl. Why don't you start? Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I started at a very young age practicing. I had some Time Life books. I was fascinated by the lore, the mysticism, and what seemed very obviously the sort of earth-based spirituality that was echoed in these traditions. Digging further, I, over the years, found more actual resources for practicum, community. In my 20s, I joined some communities in the Chicagoland area, and then I was able to actually participate in rituals, learn a lot more, attend workshops, and be a part of a living, breathing community. So it wasn't an abstract armchair kind of hoping, wishing spectator participation. Right. It was live participation where we could actually facilitate things for other people and learn with each other, with the community, and a pagan church, a 501c3.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They're known as Earth Traditions, and and they do events. So didn't mean to do a pitch right there, but
no, that's what we want to know, because there's people out there like me who, where I live, there's not a whole lot of groups that do that. So next time I get up there, maybe I'll get lucky enough and you'll be doing an event that I can maybe participate in. That would be awesome. So, all right, let's
church groups up here too. So.
Yeah. Why don't you get your introduction in there, Raven?
Well, hello, everyone. So I have been practicing since I was pretty young, but I did not really fully go into rituals and traditions until I was in my 20s. In Hawaii and then in other states, I started going to different celebrations and rituals, and I learned a lot about ways that I could honor those who had crossed over, and part of that was the Samhain rituals that we did. And I eventually led my own ritual with an open group, and I'm very passionate about this topic. So, yeah.
That's great. Have two great people. All right. So I know I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. Raven is driving home. So she is in just a moment going to have her little picture up, but she is going to interact with us and, discuss. If you have a comment, please do. Like I said, I am going to be live watching this. So if you have any questions or anything, we can definitely get those answered, or comments so everybody can see. So, all right. Why don't you guys start?
Well, I can start if that's, we'll just do the back and forth rhythm, I guess. And certainly, Raven, correct me on anything, chime in. I'm very much about the sharing of the information and these chapters. Samhain is the third of the harvest holidays. It's generally observed that there's the wheel of the year, and we have the winter solstice, the summer solstice, cross quarters to that are the equinoxes, right between those longest days, shortest nights, shortest days, longest nights. And the equinoxes in the fall and spring are when we have equal time of day and night. The cross quarters, two of those cross quarters are Beltane and Samhain. And Samhain is a very big holiday. It's a Celtic holiday. People tend to resonate very strongly with Samhain, I think, because we've got such cultural trappings in our kind of fun, mundane world that we get carving pumpkins, dressing up to throw off the spirits, to be tricksters, to kind of shift space and occupy that liminal role in our cultures. It's a time when we can, in mundane space, not mundane, but Halloween costumes are a time when we can don something different and become someone different. Magically speaking, that is a very sacred role of it is a trickster. It's a trickster without and within. And so we can, have that as a role where we can explore ourselves. And of course we can be the trickster on the outside too. And going back to that third harvest, the first harvest is sort of grains, the honey, that is Lunasad, and that's in August. And then we have Mabon, which is like the garden harvest. And it's very much, our pumpkins and apples and food from the gardens. And Samhain is the blood harvest. That is in agrarian societies, when most of us were farming and living much closer to the land. This is when we would choose what animals were going to stay with us over the winter and which were going to be sacrificed. And the bonfire, the bone fire, that was the thank you and the sacred passing of those lives into the other world. And it was very sacred.
I'm going to show you a picture that I found, and I'm hoping this fits in with it. I know.
Yes.
Is that okay? I was trying to find some I guess authentic type stuff. Now this one, I see it looks like, I'm not sure if it's antlers or if that's kind of part of it also. So, and when you say tricksters and the costume, not costumes, but the, what you wear.
Oh, the alternating, yeah.
And also I found this, which is supposed to be something that somebody made. And I was like, well, that would be, that looks beautiful. Like that is beautiful. And that took very much time, but I thought I would add that just a little bit in there. So
that's gorgeous. Yeah, and you can see that that nod to the blood harvest. Here we have animal parts, we have antlers, we have bones, we have feathers. These animals have sacrificed their lives. We have taken their lives so that we are going to be moving into the cold seasons.
Yes.
All respect to conversations around veganism and vegetarianism, you don't have to kill to enjoy Samhain. But we look at the bones, we look at the skulls, we honor the dead. That veil is thin, so it's very much a death holiday, and we honor those who passed before us, and we bring their memories, we call their names, we walk the paths that we can, have them with us. So there's a lot going on for Samhain.
Raven, is that what do you have to add? Is yours similar? I know we were talking about the communities are a little bit different, which makes it great. You get to see what they do also.
I would say so. Like the bonfires and hearth fires, they were large in the way that I learned. They're very large communal fires. They were lit to honor the sun's waning power, and to protect, um, in old traditions, protect villagers through the dark months ahead. The hearth fires at home were often rekindled from these sacred flames. Families in my traditions would set an extra place at the table for the deceased loved ones, or they would leave offerings of food and drink outside as hospitality for the wandering spirits. Um, because of the veil's thinness, Samhain has always been, in my opinion, and maybe in some others, a really strong time for getting messages from those whom have crossed over.
Totally.
So that's something that I've really felt. They use tools like scrying mirrors, apples, nuts. They're very, very common. They would wear costuming. So people would disguise themselves to confuse or blend in with the spirits, which later basically evolved into modern Halloween. One of my favorite things about it is that we would make ancestor altars. So, like in the big formation groups that I was a part of, we were told to bring pictures of our loved ones that had crossed over, and we would have candles that would be lit. And then we also had the setup where the table, we call it a dumb supper. But basically the tables would be set up to where we would eat with our ancestors. So there would be a whole place setting that was made for them. And the reason they call it a dumb supper is because you're basically eating in silence and you're listening and communing with the spirits, um, that are that have crossed over. They also have something called a red supper, that is traditionally done during these times in some traditions, not all traditions, where it's kind of interesting because they do like a drink and like the drink and the bread so that the spirits could commune through you to give messages. So it's more of a time of celebration, whereas the traditions with the dumb supper that I went through are more of a time of reverence and communion in a very silent context for them.
Gotcha. Well, I'm going to pop up a picture here, and hopefully it makes sense. I have tried to look up some things, and this is that kind of in my head represents some. You see some of the berries and some of the nuts, and it has a pie. I know, but I honestly I just thought it was kind of beautiful. And let's see, there's one also. That's more
nice.
Yeah. So, but that is that time of year, and I think all this is interesting. I don't know nearly what you guys do, but I think I've always thought that this time of year when you get together and you have the food and you have this time of year, and it's not just the kids trick or treating type of stuff. It goes deeper, and there's obviously more. So, this is great for me. This is absolutely awesome. So, when you guys, do you have you made like your clothing or whatever that you wear to these ceremonies or whatever you would like to call them? Do you have something that you've made from different things?
One of the traditions my group would do, and I'm fascinated to hear about this, the Red Supper, is we had a whole ritual for our dumb supper in silence where we would actually don these skull masks, and the bottom was cut off so we could eat. But again, it was, like Raven said, done in silence. And we had servers dressed completely in black, and we would have this little sort of puck on our table. If it was face up green, more food, please. It was face up red, done eating. And it was all just done very, very silently with just signs and nods. And there was salad, and there's, the main course, and there's drink, basically water. And during the course of this supper, of course, it's just silent except for the clinking of silverware on plates. And the meditation was done beforehand to really slip into a communion with the ancestor. And so you're chewing, you're imagining they are tasting through you. They're experiencing the food through your body. It's a little bit more gentle than an actual like riding the spirit, but you are absolutely sort of cohabitating and sharing that experience for your ancestor. And maybe that was more of a red supper. Raven, do you think that's sort of?
So the with the red supper, it kind of it's pretty similar.
Okay.
I would say, because the red supper, it's like you're inviting the spirits of your ancestors to basically communicate through you. So like
Yeah.
they dip bread in like wine, and then they have that a whole ritual that they do with that, to where like if you're in a group setting, to where like the messages that come out are being channeled
Sure.
from the ancestors. Whereas for my traditions, the dumb supper, you're not really communicating what the messages are. You're listening.
I see. Yeah. And in this situation, it was definitely silent. So there's no channeling or communicating, but there's like a communing with. And yeah, it was really, really powerful. And after this was the Dance of the Dead, and we would descend into a lower level of the building. It was, everyone safely filed in, and then the lights were extinguished. It was completely dark. Music would play, and we would very slowly dance down here. Quite a large group of us, probably 30 people. And imagine, if you will, like a slow contact improv where you just very gently move past people. There's some touch, you just move past. There's no obviously inappropriate touching. Nothing ever happened that was weird in this setting. And it was just soul-rendingly powerful, because it felt like you were dancing with your past father, your passed away father. You would smell, sense, you could swear you felt fur of a beloved pet that had passed away. Like, just the experience was extremely powerful. And the first year we did it, it was so successful. People just said, do that again. Please do that again. And for a run of several years, that was the tradition for our silence. We would have the dumb supper, we'd have the Dance with the Dead, and the other kind of make and take workshops and stuff that varied a bit. But those two big pivotal things were extremely potent, and people loved that.
That sounds very powerful. It does. It really does. And when you're in there, there's no light at all. Like
no light
none.
at all, none. And there's always a ritual too of eating the pomegranate seed, and the light was extinguished, and so you were dead essentially. In ritual, you were in the other world, and there was a whole passage. You danced very, very, very slowly, gently, carefully. You're in complete darkness with all these other people,
right?
And then they would bring you through meditation and the music back out of that space to enter into your body again and back into this world. And then the lights would come up very, very slowly, just like a candle. And of course, it just seemed like the sun, one candle in this completely dark room.
That sounds powerful. How about the music? Can you describe the music a little bit?
It's very minor key ethereal. soft singing, and no words that you can discern. That was always a kind of an important part as a ritual facilitator too. You don't have a shirt with a logo on it or words or anything like that. Just very neutral, so people don't see a word and start and engage that sort of, left brain. You want to be as neutral as possible, and so the music that was chosen was very wordless to us, but just the singing and harps and ethereal minor key.
Sounds
just
great, actually.
eldritch and gorgeous, and you'd cry just listening to the music, and everything else started, and it was just cry. Everybody's just crying, and it's cathartic. Really, really powerful.
It sounds wonderful, actually. Raven, did you do any of anything similar to that with the dance or the music?
So the music, definitely. We did do a dance afterwards, and there was music that was very ethereal, but there was also kind of an energy raising that ended up occurring with that, whereas traditionally I do understand that it's like more of that ethereal aspect and vibe, but is specifically within the communities that I was a part of before moving to Salem. It was more like a Halloween dance party at that point. But the interesting thing is, you definitely saw that the dead were present in those situations. And yes, it was dark lighting. It wasn't pitch black, but it was dark lighting, and there were candles that were lit. And the ancestor table was still, they would still have candles lit for them at the very end. But it was very much, you were dancing with the dead and communing with them. Now, some of the people that would attend these events, because of the type of group that I was with, it's interesting. The very first time I ever experienced it, like the energy was like really, 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 really super intense for me. And so I learned about grounding like really quickly. Like they had a huge cauldron. And so what they would do is they would have me hold on to the top of it, and then it balanced my energy out. They didn't really explain what I was walking into fully at
Nice.
that time, which is just like, but I'm very, very pleased to know that, to basically know that I, in future experiences, was very prepared in those states, because you are dancing with the dead and you are seeing them. At least in my experience, I'm seeing them very visually during those dances. So if you're not quite prepared for that, that can be a little bit of a like, and you are a medium, it could be a little bit of a shocking surprise.
And I know you mentioned the pets. Did you have the experience with any of your, I guess, or anybody there's pets that have passed?
Yes. That's the interesting thing is like when we would do the dumb suppers, the ancestors also include the pets. So we would have pets there that would join in, and that had been deceased that would dance as well in their own way, and or they would be present, just sending energy to the living person or giving them, different kinds of communication through telepathy type energies. So yeah.
That sounds wonderful. And how about you, Beryl? Did you experience maybe one of your pets that had passed? Did you get to identify as yours, or is it just? Well, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, I see
Definitely.
that smile. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Now, I know you talked about the pomegranate. I did read a little bit on it, but can you explain about exactly why the pomegranate is chosen? Can you tell us a little bit?
It's a very powerful thing in our tradition. Initially, of course, pomegranate comes from Persephone's abduction into the underworld by Hades. While she's there, I'm going to really keep this short, she consumes 6 seeds of the pomegranate. And this is the 6 months that she is in the underworld. We experience, the fall of the land, winter, spring returns. She returns, then she's back, and she can, bring spring and life back to the world up here. In our tradition, we really celebrate the fact that, she is queen of the underworld. It's not just a hapless abduction, but, she is a ruler. She is potent, and the pomegranate is blood. It is red, it is life, and it is this glowing jewel in a place that is otherwise occupied by cold, dark blues. And so it is that thread of life, the thread that, returns in the spring, goes down into the underworld, at the turning of the wheel when, Samhain finally ends. It's the new year for many pagans and witches, and it's still that thread of life that takes us through the underworld, that thread of blood and that heartbeat. So the pomegranate is the contract, is the transitioning and the shift into the underworld, and that acceptance of walking between the worlds. And so you're occupying that space and kind of holding that thread as you descend down. And in a way, it's this sort of, you're a representative of the living, and you're moving down into this death. You are experiencing personal sacrifice, and you're going to come back. You're going to, rise again. And just like the sap rises in the trees, this theme, almost salvific, is, as we know, pretty prevalent in a lot of traditions.
Yes.
And it isn't just one tradition that holds a trademark for that sacrifice and that rite of passage. It's a spiritual rite of passage. Is that really long-winded? I'm sorry.
No, that is. And like I said, I don't understand it like you guys do. And I'm thinking, some of our audience probably maybe does, maybe doesn't. But when I look at a pomegranate, I had somebody tell me one time, and this may be way off, but think of it as the heart. And you said heartbeat. So when you hold it, it's red. It's got, but and it's also, if you've ever had it, if you've ever eaten pomegranate seeds or even had tasted it at all, it almost gives you a little boost, like a, it's not energy exactly, but it almost is. It's that something in it just gives you, like orange juice gives you a little boost because it has the sugar in it. I don't know how to explain it, but I've had people
say they're like jewels and they just burst, and it's amazing.
It's that, So if you've never tried it and you're not allergic, of course, don't be allergic. Try that. Now, Raven, is that kind of how it is with you with pomegranate, or is it something different?
I mean, in some instances, yes, the pomegranate would be the similarity that's there. I think it just kind of depends on the group that I'm working with,
Absolutely,
or the setting I'm working with. Like it's a bit different at different times, but the pomegranate has definitely been a big deal because yes, we do celebrate. We do in some senses celebrate.
Do we lose you?
Raven, are you there? Can you say that again?
I'm gonna pause this for just a minute. Okay, so Raven was having a little difficulty with her signal, but we are back. And ladies, go ahead.
So what was, I'm trying to figure out, what was the last, where did I leave off?
We were talking about the pomegranate and that kind of thing, but I think you were almost finished with that. And then it kind of.
protection.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Okay. So, with the pomegranate, yes, that is in some, groups that I have correlated with or I have worked with. And it just depends on the traditions that they, follow. But a lot, when it comes to cleansing and protection, there are a lot of herbs that we have burned, like sage, rosemary, mugwort, to purify a home space before the dark season. We sometimes create charms and wards to help strengthen, protection within the home. A lot of the symbols and correspondences definitely have to do with, like, for example, the color black, that talks about, death and mystery. Orange for the harvest fire, gold for light protection. Um, we talked about herbs, but I also want to add rue to that. Sometimes crystals are used. It's not in every, situation, but like obsidian, smoky quartz, onyx, and carnelian. Foods that we have had are like apples, pumpkins, root vegetables, breads, ciders, nuts. And then deities, when we talk about that, Persephone with the pomegranate, of course, and then the Morrigan, Hecate, and other, deities that are locked, or not locked, hello, linked to basically the other side. And then outside of the dumb supper, a lot of it has surrounded shadow work or reflection of what needs to be released before the winter. So things like writing down the energies, what could be let go of, and then putting that into the cauldron, or a flame. We would put candles in the windows to guide loved ones home. We would, of course, have storytelling, ritual circles. Storytelling would be like stories of our ancestors that to help bring their energy more into that kind of situation.
So I'm trying to think. We had talked about it. What else do you think just somebody who is not familiar and wants to learn would like to know? Kind of just to get into it, maybe? How would they get into it?
Well, I would also, I think the first piece of advice I would give is, depending on the event that you're going to, actually, I would say in most cases, get kind of an understanding of what you're walking into completely, because if you have certain natural abilities or natural gifts, those things will be amplified times 10. For example, when we talk about the dance of, the dancing with the dead, if you're a medium and you're brand new and you're just learning about things and you don't have preparation, well, guess what? You're going to see those ancestors, you're going to see those pets that have crossed over, and you may not be fully prepared for it. So knowing how to prepare ahead of time for these kinds of rituals, or celebrations, or really in any situation for that kind of thing, is going to be really important, because and especially learning about like grounding ahead of time so that you're prepared. That's a really big piece of advice I would give for people that are interested in, newly stepping in, as well as if you're just doing it at home for yourself. It doesn't have to be super fancy. You could prepare a meal in the kitchen, and you can do the dumb supper in your home, and you can wear, black, and you can do the dancing with your ancestors and with the dead without anybody else there. You can make your own special rituals, and you can integrate your own traditions within it. It I feel like it doesn't have to be one set way that you celebrate it, as long as you're celebrating those that you loved that are on the other side, and those that are on the other side that have opened up doorways on this side for, for communication.
That is such a good point. That, and I probably should have kicked off with that. That event was not, excuse me, was not for seekers and not for children. So,
Right.
it's, yeah, and that is absolutely paramount that, heavier rituals like this are not necessary if you are, by yourself and you're working for something, you're working on something for kind of the first time. And that people are appropriately prepared and protected before doing something of this kind of magnitude.
Now, I learned about grounding and shielding, which is a part of that. Mine's in a different way. I'm still learning, but I have found out that anytime I'm feeling off balanced, to get myself, I can ground myself, or I do investigations. So before that, I definitely do. Or if I go into a situation where I know I'm gonna be around spiritual people, especially, you ground yourself because sometimes it's tense. But grounding yourself in any situation, not just these, is excellent idea. Excellent. And especially with the seasons change, you do feel it. I think it kind of might help you ease into it. Not ease, but go into it a little better. I know I've had to do it. Even today, I had to do it. So, yep, that is good. Now, as far as food, is there a certain way that you cook? I've had people that I know, like little bits. Some people say that some people have the not cauldron, but pot, where they do things in a pot, and it kind of helps get the aroma and things going in the home or in the space that you're in. Is that kind of with you guys? Do you do kind of any sort of thing like that? Like natural cooking more, I guess it would be?
I mean, there's, I think it depends on.
Uh-oh, we lost her.
Well, no.
Yeah, it's okay. She's coming back.
Okay.
There she is.
We have simmer pots that we use that are that are
cool.
Samhain energies to make the smells that are appropriate to come into the space. And then as far as cooking goes, in some situations, like, we basically have learned how to make the different ancestors' favorite meals to integrate that into the process with the reverence and the energy that you're putting into it to offer to them.
Right.
But I think that it doesn't necessarily have to be something that is like handmade, but like for my ancestors, a lot of their stuff, it's definitely one of those energies of, you kind of need to actually put like cooking work into it and baking and that kind of stuff. And the energy.
So, maybe their favorite, I don't know, maybe bread or pie or just anything that they really loved. You think that'll help bring them through, I guess?
For my family, like on my mom's side of the family, like, it's very European type foods, right? On my dad's side of the family, it's a little bit of a smorgasbord. And then I also take into consideration past life connection. This is where I may differ from others. I take into consideration past life connections with different traditions I may have been part of in previous lifetimes, and looking to add a little bit of that energy into what I'm manifesting to honor the dead.
Farrell, go ahead.
No, that's amazing. Yeah. In our traditions, we tend to go with kind of, my background being, kind of Germanic and French. We go with the really sort of root vegetables, roasts, beef, venison, potatoes, really stick to your ribs kind of food, and foods that are traditional for the home cooking of my lineage. And it's this being Wisconsin, a lot of folks up here have Germanic backgrounds and Scottish and the British Isles as well. So you'll see meat pies and fruit pies, just kind of heavier foods. But
Maybe to fortify you for the colder weather. Is that kind of?
And I think that too. It's it's definitely evocative of just kind of bundling in, and it's all of the energy of you're cooking, you're gathering, you're coming together like you would at Thanksgiving or on Yuletide around other gatherings like, weddings and funerals. And so where there's energy coalescing, that draws energy too. And so that cooking is heavy.
It is. Now, growing up, I don't know if you guys were following this kind of thing. And I know a lot of the families have Halloween for the kids, and I love knowing the history. And that's just me. But, do you guys have a go-to, let's say, I don't want to say costume, but I guess it would be. Do you have a favorite costume to get it a little happy stuff out there?
I have a green woolen cloak I wear.
Nice. And
so I've had this thing for years. It's kind of become a tradition through virtue of the fact it's just kind of old now. Again, we like to wear black. And that's always a nice psychological shift into maintaining sacred space and, the meaning of the year and that ritual. There are particular necklaces my husband and I like to wear of jet and amber, and that grounds us into our kind of mental headspace of helping facilitate these spaces for others and for ourselves.
So earthy type, like your green is earthy in my head.
It's very much of the earth, yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha. And the black, of course, the shadow.
For me, definitely black. Black, in Salem, a lot of us wear all black all the time.
Yeah.
But in that specific situation, while I don't have a specific costume, I will wear black, and I will have items that my ancestors have given me that have crossed over, that I either wear in honor of them, or I put it within the altar space to allow the energy that's needed for it in that specific situation. When I have the room to be able to do those rituals privately. But it's usually just an all black dress that I would wear.
Nice.
Nice.
Now you see these headdresses and with the antlers. I think it was actually a man in front of the fire. When you are doing, I don't know if you've ever done it outside with the big bonfire and that kind of thing, but have you done that kind of thing? I think that's interesting because, it's nature, and it's the animals, and, I have a German ancestors also. So that's kind of unique. I have different ones, but the German one, I do remember, I think there was a certain, I don't know. I remember over the fireplace, there was a certain thing that they would have that was passed down, but it was more, I want to say it was antlers, but it was also, it always had I want to say fall type stuff. They would always put I want to say greenery and kind of that kind of stuff. Is that part of Samhain, or is that just something that, I don't know, was passed down?
I have heard of it.
Yeah.
Did I lose you guys again?
I think it blew
right here.
It's okay.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I was going to say, I have heard of it. I have seen it a lot of, I have not done it myself, but I have been in traditions where when they have a specific group coming in giving messages from the dead, they will wear headdresses and coverings and those kinds of things, because that helps them to see through the veil when it comes to those things. For me personally, I just don't see it the same. Like, I just, the veil opens and I'm able to communicate. So I don't really add that aspect, but I do see why certain people use that within their Samhain tradition, traditional rituals, and why they would use that within, you know, when they're connecting with the dead and speaking as the dead.
Right.
Mhm.
How about you, Beryl? Did you have any kind of?
Not in a traditional sense. Personally, my cloak, if I'm standing around the fire and it's outside and it's probably 40 degrees, I like to bring that hood up because it encloses me energetically, my head. It kind of blocks out everything but the vision of the fire. I'm able to sort of commune and concentrate a lot more directly. It shuts out the world orally a bit, and I'm aware of the anonymity. I'm aware of looking, not like myself, but just looking like a human being standing there. Whether I'm spirit or corporeal, I lose a little bit of individuality when I cloak up, so I can more easily sort of slip into space when I have my hood up. We don't have a real particular shared headdress. I think a lot of us eat venison because we come from a long line of hunters and people who harvest from the land. And so that might be more of a, that sort of resonant chime back toward the ages, not so much something that's passed down, but sort of a traditional food, I guess. And it's not solid, it's not a rule or anything, but when the venison comes out, we all just sort of stop in our tracks and really ground with our own roots of people and the mothers and fathers who hunted up until today. And that's really deep for us in this area up here, northern Wisconsin, kind of Midwestern Wisconsin.
Gotcha. You still with us, Raven?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I couldn't hear the car. So I know we're coming up on like 40 something minutes and we do not have a time limit. What have we missed? Is there something that you want to add, that either one of you, that we've missed, or you think that we need to add to it?
I would say that, like, it's important to make this type of ritual very personalized, because every specific group is going to do things very differently. And so when it comes to not necessarily in those public formats, but on a personal format, especially if you're just beginning out, like, write a letter to your loved ones. Make it meaningful, make it special, make it a special connection, communion with them. And realize that, like, every, as time goes on, you'll probably integrate other things within that specific thing, whether you've heard it from somebody else and it's like fitting into how you celebrate that specific tradition or not, or as long as it's not from a very closed practice. It's just and you get the permissions necessary, in those specific things. But I would just say integrating your own energy into what you're creating within these rituals is the most important.
Yeah. What
do you think, Beryl? That sound right?
Oh, that sounds right. Absolutely. Yes. And it's what we're doing in today's practicum of, of witchcraft, of paganism.
Mhm.
Not many of us have direct transmission of knowledge from our forefathers and foremothers. A lot of it is, we're piecing it back together through the history that has survived. Some of us do have family traditions, and it's incredibly special. So it has to be personalized. There's so much personal accountability in paganism and witchcraft, and the forging of the self, the path of the self.
Mhm.
So it is almost, part of it to strengthen that relationship between yourself, your path, the divine, your accountability in the world, and to your spiritual evolution. It's got to be very personalized and meaningful. And it's perfectly said. And there's this random tradition, I don't even know where to fit it in. I could mention it now.
Yes,
So
please.
there's a belief, an observation that, at Mabon is the harvest of the gardens and the food and the fruits of the cultivated
Mhm.
food and of the land. And I don't know the specific roots of this, but I know of it that after Samhain, you don't eat from the land anymore. That is for the spirits of the land. That is for the fae, the dead. That is for the kind of fog moon, that chaos time, that kingless time between Samhain and the winter solstice.
Mhm.
That you don't touch food from the land. So even if there's, you find an apple or you find, a squash, it's still sitting out there after Samhain, that's not yours anymore.
So it's for the animals and that. Okay. Well, it
For
kind of
the
makes sense.
animals, it's for the ancestors. It's energetically not available to us anymore. And I don't know where it comes from, but someone explained it to me a long time ago when I was, first learning more about these traditions. And I clung far closer to that observation and fact than I did like where it came from and if that's any
But
part of my personal lineage. But I think it's fascinating.
it is, and to me, and just from what I'm thinking, it's like, okay, you leave that because the animals ultimately feed you.
Yeah.
And during the winter, a lot of people do want more heavy food like meat,
Mhm.
with the protein, and that does make sense to me. You're feeding nature, you're feeding the animals, and they feed you. So that does
I
make
think it's
sense.
our sacrifice too. It's like
Yes.
now that's a prohibition. We can't have that. We have to give that.
Gotcha. It does make sense. This has been very interesting. Is there anything else, you guys? I'm not pushing. I'm trying to
Yeah.
make sure that we covered everything. And of course, Raven, Beryl, both of you, tell everybody how to get in touch with you if they have questions or, in business or anything like that. I know Beryl has I don't want to a store, but tell us about it. Tell us about it.
We have a store in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. It's called Moonbees LLC, Moonbees, and 2 words. It's a store, but we also have a reading room. We have a resource of classes and a full apothecary of over 150 herbs. We have a homebrew section for those who make beer and wine, and of course a full selection of spiritual support, our cauldrons and candles and cheeky swag and incense. And it's a really interesting kind of community hub. We're happy to answer questions. We're putting on more events, and we're all about connecting communities with each other so people can have whatever form of that sort of spiritual support in an earth-based manner that makes best sense to them. There's no centralized leadership, but we're definitely a hub that connects pagan churches with other practicing groups or other stores, other little covens, and we love to answer questions.
So, personally, is it best to get you through your business? Could they look you up on like Facebook, or how's the best way to reach you?
Facebook, we're pretty responsive on Messenger. We do our best. There's a lot going on in running everything that we do. So if we're a little late, we will get to you definitely. you can find us on Instagram or Facebook. And yeah, so
That sounds good. How about you, Raven?
You can reach me at the desert. I'm sorry, not the desert. You can reach me at the medium frequency at gmail.com. I also have shows on Monday nights at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, EDT. So you can come on
awesome.
the show. You can also message me on Facebook. I am on Facebook more than I am on Instagram right now. So Raven Wolf with an E. Let's see. Or you can just reach out to any of the amazing people from All Access Network to get a hold of me, and they will help you find me.
Nice.
So basically, you can reach out to me, or
Yes.
Triana. Yeah, she has her show is with us, and Beryl. Anytime you'd like to be a guest on Ravens or any of them, you are welcome. Just reach out to me. And you guys, if for some reason you can't get in touch with one of these ladies or Kristina, we do not forget about her ever. You can always reach out to me, and it's basically and I check my personal Gwen Johns on Facebook. I check that a lot more than I do All Access, just because I get more communication that way. So, but ladies, I have enjoyed it. And Kristina, we love you, and we hope you get to feeling better. We're sending you all kind of healing energy. Everybody out there, if you would do that, that would be wonderful. And if I don't judge by religion or anything. So if you pray, how about pray? If you don't, send energy, whatever works for you. And you guys, I'm gonna say happy Halloween also because there are kiddos out there. Yeah, be safe, have fun, enjoy it, and just winter's coming. So enjoy this little last before Thanksgiving, and most people try to get together for that, and then Yule or Christmas. We love that also, but be safe and have fun. And if you have an idea that others would like to, any of the traditions or anything, and you want to share pictures, anything like that, you can also just message us and we'll get them out there. We'll put them out there as a post. So, be a community, enjoy each other and share it. I think that's a really good thing. I don't have a prayer or anything. I feel like I should. So, girls, do you have any kind of little poem or prayer, anything that comes to mind that you would like to say? Just close it out. Putting you on the spot. I'm so sorry. Raven, do you have anything?
No, I think that I'm just gonna say this. May you all be blessed, and may you have a wonderful Samhain and connection with your ancestors, and may you find inspiration through your connection with this season. That's what I'll say.
That's nice.
Lovely.
Meryl,
Thank you.
do you have anything?
Oh my goodness.
No, she's smiling at me like, Gwen.
Yeah, perfectly put. Be safe, enjoy, connect, and that thrill of these cooling days, that stirs our bones for a reason. So really just enjoy being able to ride the waves of that veil thinning and really feel that this is a time of year when we can really feel the spirit of the land and our ancestors. And that's very real and tangible. So lean into it safely and wisely, and enjoy.
Yeah, I say that too, and not just for our human ancestors, but our pets, our fur babies, however you put it. I think those are important too. But the veil is getting thinner. Even this week, I've had personal things that have happened, and it's unique. And enjoy it, and put your pictures out if that's your thing, or put a necklace out or something. Just remember your ancestors. Just remember them and enjoy that. And winter's coming, guys. Bundle up, light those fires. I don't know, and snuggle with your special person. I don't know. Enjoy things, because winter, summer's beautiful. You can get out and do stuff, but you can do things inside too, like simmer pots and that kind of thing. I think that would be cool. If anybody has a post or something, we can definitely put that out there for traditions that you have, so everybody can share. But I want to thank these two ladies for coming on, and
Thank you.
Anytime you want to come back, just let us know. We'll arrange something. There's all kind of seasons and everything. Everybody always wants to learn. And Kristina, we love you, and I know she's listening. So this will go out on Wednesday morning, on the 29th. Am I getting my days wrong? And then I actually am going to put it out again on Halloween Day. Not sure what time. So if you see it at 1 and you missed part of it, you can always go back on one of our websites. So, and as always, be blessed and have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.